This is our presentation about the effect we have on our planet.
Every year, 7 million people die from causes directly attributable to air pollution.
This graph shows that air pollution is a major health risk to everyone on the planet. These are images of people who are affected by air pollution in their daily lives around the world.
Over 1 million sea animals are killed every year due to pollution and plastic. Half the species of plants and animals on Earth are at risk of extinction. Can you imagine a world with dark skies, dying animals, and no clean air to breathe?
These are major pollutants that contribute a large portion to air pollution and waste pollution. Ground level ozone, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide are major air pollutants that affect the environment. These pollutants are caused by industrialization, such as factories, vehicles, and other fossil fuel emissions. Liquid waste, solid rubbish, organic waste, recyclable waste, and hazardous waste are types of waste pollution that affect the environment.
6.5 million tons of litter enter the world's ocean each year. 50% is long-lasting plastic that will drift for hundreds of years before it's degraded. Air pollution is the fourth largest threat to human health, behind high blood pressure, dietary risks, and smoking. Americans buy more than 29 million bottles of water each year. Only 13% of these bottles are recycled every year. There are more than 500 million cars in the world, and by 2030, the number will rise to 1 billion. This means pollution level will be more than double.
The environment will continue to deteriorate until pollution practices are abandoned.
Now we're going to interview Ms. Killian, an AP Environmental Science and Aquatic Science teacher who graduated from the University of Texas at Austin with a Bachelor's of Science in Marine and Freshwater Biology. What made you want to study and educate our next generation about the environment?
Well, for me, it all kind of goes back to being in school and being able to study marine biology and realizing how important our world around us is. And then on top of that, becoming a certified teacher. And in that moment, I kind of realized you can combine this amazing ecosystem and learning about it to educating and outreaching to the public. And I think it's just really important to help showcase the beauty of the world that we live in, and just each little piece of learning someone else can have can help them become a better person towards the world that we live on. So it's just kind of combining two passions of mine that turned into this amazing job that I have. Very fortunate.
What do you think the biggest impact humans are making to harm the environment?
There's definitely a couple of things. The two biggest ones, in my opinion, is going to be our use of fossil fuels and also our single-use plastics. We kind of continually have put ourselves in a position where we sometimes don't think about the amount we use. And so it's these little tiny things that build up over time. And so when we see our historical levels of CO2 reaching a point we never thought we would reach, actually this week we saw it reached so we had a baseline of 400 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere, and we reached 415 this past week. We never even thought we'd reach 400. So the fact that our CO2 levels keep rising, and that's definitely showing a correlation to climate change, is something we need to start considering. We can't just kind of keep this going on any longer. And it doesn't have to be go buy an electric car. That's the thing everyone always thinks, but no, you can just very easily every now and then choose to walk, or choose not to leave your car on idle, or turn off your lights because that's burning fossil fuels too. It's these little things that'll add up to a bigger picture. And then on top of the single use, it's just transitioning your life to not buy everything and then just throw everything away. Find a way to repurpose it, find a way to not use that plastic water bottle every single day. Think about your shampoo containers. There's a lot of little things that add up. And so once we start as a globe, or at least as a small community even, recognize that, we can really start to see our world overall be able to adapt to the things that we input.
What do you say is the first step in an individual's life to have a more environmentally friendly lifestyle?
Awareness. I think that's the first step, is just being aware of the things that you do each and every day. I know for me, I'm not perfect. I still, sometimes, yes, I know, sometimes you buy a water bottle. You can be somewhere, you could forget your water bottle, you're thirsty, it happens. But it's being aware, being educated, sharing with others, and then slowly finding those little things you can do. So have that reusable water bottle every single day. Choose not to take a straw at a restaurant. Choose to not drive your car to your friend that lives right down the block. And when you start doing that, you realize it's actually not too terrible to make those little changes in your life, that you can approach bigger ones, having a compost pile, those sorts of things, that eventually you realize that we can all do this. But it's the baby steps. As long as you start small, you can make a big change.
What changes have you made in your daily life in an attempt to be more environmentally friendly, and how have these changes impacted your life and the way you live?
Well, the biggest one is obviously, lugging this thing around all the time. I definitely don't use all of my containers are reusable. I have transitioned to things like shampoo bars. That was the biggest one for me, was realizing the plastic that shampoo and conditioner always have around them, and that they don't need it. A bar actually can do the exact same thing. I try to avoid straws as much as I can. Sometimes they just give it to you though, and you're like, they can't take it back. But it's the little tiny steps. I don't sit and keep the lights on all the time. I try to buy items that are more sustainable. So even your clothing can be something too, that what it's made out of cannot be as sustainable as certain types of products. So it's just kind of looking at all the things you buy every day, buying, bamboo toothbrushes, all these little things that just can add up. And so it's a little bit of work figuring out what that is, but over time you realize there's a lot out there now, and just finding the little ways that you don't have to use as much and consume as much, and just kind of be a better individual for the world we live on.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Please recycle. Please save the world. And educate others. That's really, really important too.
What will you do to save our planet?